somebody had asked me about those videos recently, and I told them, go online and look at the shape I was in. Like, I remember exactly what I did that weekend. Like, it was, I spent maybe $600 that I did not have. Like, at the time, I did not have this money. And in those days, I had a guy that would deliver right to your room. I met him at the UFC.
I remember that weekend. This is crazy. You know what? I don't know if you remember this. You gave me a little, and you put it in my front pocket of my coat. I forgot that I had it in there because I was wasted when you did that. I found it about a year ago. I put on the jacket, and I pulled it out. I was like, holy shit, I know what this is from. I did it, too. It was great.
That was...
it still worked.
My friends were in town from Jersey. I was there with you, Rogan, and somebody else, Ari maybe.
Yeah.
And I basically went to the room when we got there, got the delivery. I didn't do any coke before the show. And I think right from the fucking show, I split. But why? We were there like 2 nights.
In Jersey.
No,
in Vegas.
We shot that in Vegas.
Yeah, Vegas. Yeah.
Well, we shot that the second night.
Right. I think we were there. The first night was, or the second night was a UFC, or the first night was a UFC. So we filmed a special, and then there was a UFC or something like that.
I left the UFC. Like Joe said something to me. Like he goes, "My friend, the lawnmower guy, said you went and left." And I go, "Oh, people were bothering me, asking me questions about Adam Sandler, and they pissed me off."
Right.
But Joe knew I had lied to him. Like I couldn't even watch the UFC. Like I was like, I gotta go to the room and get hot. And the guy was bringing me Vicodins and Darvocets and Valium. And you know me, I was eating all 3 of them together, like fucking. And then we go to do this show, and it's me and you in a room. And you're like, what's your problem or something? And I go, you know, man, it's fucking over. Like, it's over for me. Like, I don't see me. First of all, I've been here for 7 years, or 6.5 years, or no, at that point, 8 years. I have no success at no level. Like, the only success I had was the Comedy Store, and I booked like Mad TV and like Cold Case, but there was no success. And then I got a shot to do The Longest Yard, and the movie comes up number 2. And all these people on the set are going, dog, when this movie comes out, your phone's not going to stop ringing. Well, the movie came out, and then the phone didn't fucking ring. You know, not at all. Like, I got called into 2 pilots or something, and I got a meeting with Tom Hanks. That was it. Like, nobody else called. So it just kept mounting. Like, it kept mounting. So the movie came out in May of 2005. By fucking December of 2005, I was a mess. And all of 2006, I got the fat ball removed.
That's right. And that was when we thought you knew what that fat ball was, because you would say, make it cute, like you would have jokes about it, like giving it a cigarette or something, and like how you just had this big like cyst type thing on your neck.
A cyst on my fucking neck.
You just told us it was just fat juice or something like that. And me and Joe were like, I think it's something worse. That's why he's so depressed and he's going through this. Then we thought you knew what it was, and it was like you didn't want to tell us. Like, hey,
no, they knew from the beginning. It was
so
had
weird.
No cancer in it. I just I couldn't do this girl I was dating any justice. You know, I was fucking failing as a comic. You know, the only shot I got, nothing had turned from it, and I was deep in the bag. And by that point, I was deep in anything you had. By 2006, I was deep into whatever you had. Like when I went to El Compadre, if you had, you know, I went through the crack episode. You know, I still remember getting the surgery on Tuesday, not doing coke, like one day before, like they said, stop.
That's
30
right.
days before the surgery.
30 days.
I stopped the night before. Like I stopped.
4 a.m.
Yeah, and then I fucking, I'll never forget going home and snorting coke and blood was coming out of the stitches. Like, what point of your life do you have? I had nothing, man. And this poor girl who loves me, I can't do nothing. I pay half the rent 1 month, and 1 month I wouldn't pay rent. Like, we had to get a fucking loan for $600 a month. For 6 years. We paid $636 a month for 6 years from the disaster I did at that house. And it just wouldn't work. And then Joe was I was just doing road gigs with Joe and basically snorting my fucking ass off. That poor kid, and he knew it. And he was starting to get depressed on me.
Yeah, he gets upset about that.
He really was getting upset.
Yeah.
And then 2007 hit, and I was on a real tear. And then I started doing heroin. that summer I was like, you know what? I'm not gonna last. I'm gonna just do heroin, and that'll slow it down. And then, by the grace, I still remember going to San Francisco with you, and we were at that fucking hotel with the nautical that had the red seafood soup.
Yeah.
You remember what
Yeah,
hotel?
the red chowder.
The red chowder.
From the mermaid
Yes,
place.
we stayed at. We were Cobb's.
Yeah.
And we would stay in there, and I still remember going to San Francisco and being clean for 2 months. Like, it was the exact date. Like, January, we were up there, and remember the room was sold out around the corner, and it was me, you,
Yeah, remember
bunch of us.
Remember they found a suitcase across the street from the hotel in the water, in the ocean, and it was a woman chopped up in pieces. Do you remember that? And there's that famous picture of me and you both sitting in the windowsill, and we're both squeezed into this windowsill. We were looking at the police across the street, like taking the body out of the suitcase out of the
God,
water.
I don't remember that.
And it was just like, wow, we're just watching this crazy
This was
CSI shit.
It was such a bad, like, part of me wants that tape to get taken off, but the other part of me, no. Because I want people to see where I was. It's not, whenever I look at it, I go, I don't even know who that person is.
And it's good for people to see that, because a lot of people go through shit
Like that. And I tell people, dog, just hang in there, stick it out, and you'll be fucking, like, we talk about it all the time, the beauty on the other edge, the other side of this. Like, what's happened, I got married, you know, the baby. I mean, the beauty has fucking evolved.
And anyone in our group was going through shit. Remember, like, Ari was going through depression. He said he thought he was going to die soon. Duncan was going through a horrible breakup. Eddie Bravo was so poor that he was so broke, and then overnight everybody has really changed their life around. Like, there was some. It's just to show you, man. Like, so many people come up to me and go, if it wasn't for the podcast, I had no life, and I was just working this horrible job, and I was depressed all the time. I thought my life was over. And then they started listening to podcasts. Now they feel like they have friends and shit like that. You hear that shit all the time, So it's really interesting that we documented that time of your life, because that really was one of the first times I ever had a friend really, like, I felt like my friend was going to die. That's never happened before.